What's going on, y'all? Back on the budget build. In this video, I'm gonna show y'all how to set base timing with the stock carburetor on the 1.3 liter. I tried to show y'all in a previous video, but my GoPro didn't record, so I couldn't really give y'all the first person view. That was really the footage that I was talking or narrating while I was doing it, because I was giving y'all a first person view. So we're gonna try again to get y'all that footage. So let's go ahead and get to it. To kind of give y'all an idea of where I'm gonna be looking at on the truck, the view of these carburetors is on the passenger side of the vehicle. This is the stock Hitachi carburetor. This is a Toyota 3K carburetor. So I'm doing this because this is a lot easier to get down to viewing what I need y'all to be looking at. Right here, this is your idle adjustment screw. This is what we're going to be adjusting along with base timing or rotating the distributor. Now, for any of you that have a different carburetor, like a Weber carburetor or the more popular 3K carburetor, finding that idle adjustment screw is pretty simple. It's usually down here where the actual throttle linkage is, but if you look inside or more into the assembly, you'll notice that at the base or on the opposite end of where your throttle cable runs, there's usually a bracket of some sort with a flattened off part, and there is going to be a screw that butts up against it. That is generally your idle adjustment screw. And on the Toyota 3K carb, it's right here. As you can see, when you twist it, you're either increasing more preload or taking preload away from that flat part on the butterfly linkage assembly. By increasing the amount of preload, you're actually opening the butterfly more. Now, on the stock Hitachi carburetor, I'm showing you on the bench because this is just usually got a mess of vacuum lines running all over it. But right here, that's where that screw butts up against the actual butterfly linkage. It's all the way tucked away inside. And I'll show y'all on the vehicle, but that's where the screw is. So just wanted y'all to see it. Now, for the tools that you're gonna need to do this job. You're gonna need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 12mm wrench or socket with ratchet, and a timing light with a tachometer built into it. Now, back in the day, before tachometers were built into timing lights, there were like these big monstrosity boxes that did the same thing. And I would honestly advise you to stay away from using a stock tachometer on the Suzuki Samurai, as for one, it's not as sensitive. You know, the piece of equipment is 30 years old and it already has inaccuracies built into it, let alone time and degeneration of parts, resistance that's built up into the wires of the system itself, so on and so forth. So this is probably going to be the most expensive piece of equipment to do this job. But the good thing about this is it's not specific to a Suzuki Samurai. It's not even specific to this actual style of induction system. You can use this on the stock Hitachi carburetor, you can use this on the Toyota 3K, you can use it on a Weber, you can use it on the CV, you can use it with a turbo kit, you can use it with a supercharger kit. Anything that's pretty much carbureted or even fuel injected where the actual timing on the distributor is manual, you can use this tool. So it's really not a bad tool to have, especially if you plan on keeping your Samurai or you're getting into it and you want to do routine maintenance and you want to upgrade stuff and so on and so forth. This is actually a really good tool. So now let's go over to the vehicle and let me show you how you set all this up. Alright, now as far as hooking up a timing light, with or without a tachometer, they're all the same. So the first part is actually hooking up the timing light to the battery so that way it can have power. You just have some alligator clips, you have a red and you have a black, positive and negative, and you simply just hook them up to your battery terminals. And then you actually have like a magnetic pickup It actually functions as a Hall effect sensor. And what you do with this is you put it over your number 1 spark plug wire. So just find cylinder number 1, come back to the distributor and put it around the spark plug wire. Now, I need to emphasize that you want to install this, or you want to hook it up near the distributor, as far away from the pulleys and belts as you can, because as you can see from my timing light, that belt and pulley will snag it. It can get snagged very easily if you're not careful. So learn from my mistake, just route it back here in the back, out of the way of any moving parts, and avoid destroying your $100+ timing light. So some of them, the wires are just built into the timing light. Mine actually has a plug where it comes on and off. But now that we have everything hooked up, one of the most important things about how you set base timing is it has to be done when the truck is hot. The reason why, mainly, is you can't set any of this when the choke is activated. Whenever the choke is activated, it does one of two things or both. It cuts off the amount of air, keeping the fuel mixture the same, so that way it enriches it, or it actually increases the amount of fuel going to the carburetor, so therefore it enriches the system. What that's going to do is it's going to elevate the actual idle, and you can't set base timing with an elevated idle. You need to have the truck fully warmed up, the choke all the way off, so that way you can actually set your base timing and your base idle. All right, also before we get started, I want to show you guys this sticker on the hood. Should be on the hood. My tin top doesn't have one. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them out there, but right up here, it actually has all the specifications for your idle speed and your ignition timing. It says your idle speed should be 800 RPMs. That's plus or minus 50 RPM. So it could be 750 all the way up to 850. And you have an ignition timing of 10 degrees before top dead center at 800 RPMs. So that's the specification that we're aiming for. I had already set the timing, but I reverted it back to what it was before I set it, so that way you guys can actually see adjustment. So let's go ahead and get this thing running and warmed up so we can do this. As you can see, the RPM is not near 800, and y'all can actually see the base timing is not at 10 degrees before top dead center either. So, the first thing that we're going to adjust is we are going to adjust this idle. Because when we adjust that idle, that timing will change. There's a screw to the left, or I guess, yeah, right over here, you see all these vacuum lines, here's the throttle cable, it's right in there. It's the only Phillips screw in there. So counterclockwise will decrease the RPM, and clockwise will raise the RPM. So we're going to twist it clockwise. And that looks pretty spot on, I think. That's good enough as a starting point. We'll come back over here. And as you can see, it's still not where it needs to be. So we need to take our wrench, and we need to loosen this distributor bolt just enough to barely turn it. We don't want to get it so loose that it walks around on itself. There you go. That'll work. Now I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise, and that increases it. Yeah, as y'all can see, that's counterclockwise to increase the timing or advance the timing, and then clockwise to retard the timing. can actually hear the motor. It's actually running a lot better now that we're on 10 degrees. If you look at our RPM, it's really not that bad of an increase. Well, it increased 100 RPM. So, we need to go back in here, and we need to back it off. Counterclockwise. That's about where we're going to get it. Now we'll come back and we'll take a look at our timing. And if you notice, it is still at 10 degrees before top dead center. So now we'll lock down this distributor. Got that distributor locked down. We still got 850 to 800 RPM. And we still have 10 degrees before top dead center. I'd say that's pretty much it. Well, y'all, that's all there is to it. To setting your base timing on the Suzuki Samurai with the Hitachi Carburetor. Pretty straightforward, very easy. Simple routine maintenance. Having your idle set appropriately and your base timing set on point can really alleviate a lot of problems. I actually had, still chasing down that hot start issue. Well, I really haven't messed with it. This is the first thing I've done today is showing y'all this. But I had let the truck warm up, which only took like 2 minutes down here because it's so warm. And I turned it off so that way I could talk to y'all a little bit more, and then I went back to turn it back on and it didn't have a hot start problem. So, I mean, here I'll mess with it a little bit more, see what I need to do, and I'll include y'all on that. But that was it for this video. If this was content that you enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications button so that way you can stay up to date on what I've got going on in one of 2 shops. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. God bless America, these wrenches.